Hello, my little goblins. We're here for another spicy little meatball. And I'm not talking about me either. We are talking about Altergeist. You know how Multi-Faker went from 1 to 2? Well, we're going to see if that deck is actually slapping or it's lacking. That's actually a pretty good catchphrase. I wonder if anyone else ever came up with that catchphrase. Probably. Pretty much what we're running. We run 3 of the Mulseek. I call them Meeseek because it's easier for me to pronounce. 3 Marionetta, 2 Silk, 2 Multi-Fakers, and we are also running 3 Secret Villages with a Terraform. I just think the card's hilarious, and it shuts down so many decks, and you're going to see the powerhouse of this card soon. The other card that we ended up fixing throughout the night, so I am going to apologize ahead of time, is our Altergeist Memory Gant. So this card wasn't originally in the deck so we ended up putting it in the deck afterwards. I don't really have many games with this card, but it's a card. It's an Altergeist card that is a spellcaster that helps you OTKO your opponent, or at least gives you more of an option to do that. Because otherwise, Altergeist has a kind of a hard time just one-shotting someone. Usually, you just control the hell out of them until they concede, or you're on turn 30. So now we're moving on to the games. Woohoo! Welcome to the stream. I mean, welcome to the video. So we're going to play that 1-for-1 to get Meeseek. So Meeseek has a cool secondary ability that lets you search up another Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. So that lets us search for Faker, add Faker, and we have a pretty good board set up. Because we have spoofing. Spoofing lets us do a lot of stuff. We honestly kind of whiffed on the spoofing here. I didn't mean to actually activate that. But it doesn't really matter too much. But we were able to bounce a card back to our opponent's hand. And now we're going to have Pot of P. We're actually looking for Secret Village here. So if we end up finding Secret Village, we can shut our opponent off from Zombie World. We don't find it, but we end up using that spoofing to summon Marionetta. So we can get our protocol. Our protocol is insane because it makes it so our opponents cannot negate our Altergeist monsters, but it also makes it so we can negate monster effects our opponent does. So Pukria is weird. It's a weird card. You're able to link summon with using it as link material in your hand, and then it recycles itself. Just remember, you can only use it once per turn. War Machine is about to get slapped on because we got some beastliness out here. I could have Ash Blossomed this, but I just didn't. Didn't see a need to. And here we are going to just bounce the Unizombie. Honestly, kind of a late bounce, to be real. Ideally, when you're doing anything with Syl, when you summon it with Multi-Faker, you want to turn your little bar over here on, so you have priority. Otherwise, if you don't have it on, it's not going to let you use this ability right after. So I was talking to chat, like, you know how the stream goes sometimes. You talk with the boys and shit gets real. So here we're just going for an OTKO. Remember, we are not with this. Some of these games we're not running the Altergeist rank 4, so we're just going into Celine, and then Celine's gonna get enough points so we can go into Access Code Talker, and then we kablam them for lethal. GG. Alright, we're here for game number 2. We are on the play, which is what we want to do most of the time. I mean, we're a trap-based deck. I was going to go for Hexdia, but our opponent maxed. I didn't want to give him any draws. I actually... This is actually a funny point in the stream because our opponent... we don't understand why he impermed this. I thought it was hilarious. But we end up maxing. It gets Ash. I'm going to tell you right now. When we are on the stream, I think out of all the games we played, and we played quite a bit of games. I think I played like 20-something games on stream. Because we grinded from Gold 5 to Plat 5 on stream. And then I grinded from Plat 5 to Plat like 4.5 off stream. But all the games we played on stream, I don't think we really got any max Cs off that are like useful. Kind of crazy. It's always getting Ash, Called by the Grave, or cross-outed. But as you've seen how powerful that was, we're able to just keep our opponent off from playing the game pretty much. And that, I will say, we had like, I'm pretty sure like 100% win rate against Sword Soul. If not 100%, it was very close to it. We just absolutely pooped on them when we went first. All right, so we're in for game number 3, and we are on the draw. And it's kind of buggy, if you catch my drift. And what a surprise, my Max C gets ashed. I'll never actually have a Max C that does anything. So yeah, our opponent's playing Beat Troopers, which is... whatever. The evenly match is pretty much going to do jack shit because Beat Troopers, it really hard to hit them. I don't think I get any value off of it. Could be wrong though. So our opponent is going to go into he's going to go into Seraphim at one point. Let's see when he actually does. Okay, so now he goes into Seraphim. So he's going to be able to search a Max C off the Retaliating C. And he's going to have Seraphim for plays for next turn. Kind of aggy, if you ask me. Our hand is actually like dick, by the way. I mean, look at it. Look at this hand. We have a Pukari. Like, these are cards you don't want to see in your opening. Pukari is not the worst card, but like it's not something we want. So we end up getting a little bit of value with it evenly because we did banish it face down, so it gets no effect. But yeah, we have Solemn Warning. So here kind of throws me off. Our opponent plays very oddly. So our opponent ends up playing really, really weird, which made me think, like, okay, this person knows I have a Solemn Warning. I'm like, there's no other way why this person would be playing this way. Because if you just look at how, like, what's happening here, he special summons that. And then he goes into another Seraphim Palpalin, which doesn't even make sense because the effect isn't, like... The effect doesn't go off. Does that make sense? But he ended up coming into the stream after this game, and he said that he didn't watch the stream or anything, so gotta take him at his word, I guess. But we're surviving, we're thriving. Big misplay as well too on his side. Is he ended up grabbing another Sting Lancer to add to hand. I have no monsters in my graveyard, so he can't even activate it. I feel like he could have just gone Doom Dozer, and that would have been a much better play there. But we summon the Pukari. We're going to stop him from attacking. We activate Spoof to get Multi-Faker. Multi-Faker activate. So if you guys don't know, Multi-Faker activates off spoofing, which is kind of nuts. And then we bounce. Again, not putting any cards in the graveyard so far. Our opponent just surrenders. They were locked out of spells. We weren't going to put any monsters in the graveyard. We're just pretty much going to play a really slow, controlling game with the Imperm and just whittle our opponent down. I mean, we had like some damage on the board too. We're going to be doing like what is it, like 8? We're doing probably around like 1,200 a turn or something. That's pretty high if you think about it. All right, we're here for game number 4. We're on the play. We are playing against zombies. What a surprise. I swear to God, I played against so many zombies yesterday. It was kind of nuts. But we just set the Solemn Judgment. I probably could have just played all the cards. I probably could have just set everything. Sometimes I have PTSD from overextending. Like, I swear to God, I feel like I'm so unlucky. If I set all my cards, I would... Like, if I set everything I have, they're just gonna Lightning Storm Harpies me. And I'm fucked. So the reason why I didn't, too, is, like, I really had nothing to even use with it. What am I gonna Altergeist Protocol? And I can't even use Manifestation. So it's kind of just... No point even playing anything. We're pretty close to getting fucked, though. If you're wondering why I didn't activate Solemn Judgment on anything, is because, yeah, I don't know. I needed to conserve my life points. If I activated it too early, I was just dead. So you're going to Artemis just to keep a spell up, so he's locked out of Zombie World. And then we set 4. Now, adding Kukuri to my hand was kind of pointless. I'm going to be honest. I should have just added the Multi-Faker. Because I'm going to use Multi-Faker anyway. And then I could have saved my Spoof Charge here. I could have saved it on, like, a Manifestation. So that was kind of poor on my end. But... he sent Necro World Banshee to the graveyard. Necro World, since it reads on the field, activate one zombie world. It can't. This makes it so you cannot activate. So we're like thriving right here. So he's gonna activate Ghost Bell, and since you see how this says negate the activation, since this is a Altergeist card. Right? Altergeist Protocol actually protects it from being negated, which is pretty nuts. And we're just going to max see Baldrek coming back. But when Baldrek comes back, we're just going to bounce it. So he's stuck with 2 of them in his hand. We just need to make sure we always keep a spellcaster on the field. We always need a spellcaster on the field no matter what. Multi-Faker is going to search out the Meeseek. We go into Hexdia. We're pretty much gaming right now. Prime Banshee. Yeah, we're pretty much Gucci right now. Then our opponent activates the Nibiru. And we're forced to use... So this is where I think I just overextended. I think I should have just went to Hexdia and called it. I mean, what's the chances of him having the beer in the hand? Probably not very high. I'm pretty sure I only had 1 in the deck. But still, I should have known that it was just a bad play to do that. Because now I gave my opponent like an out with having the Zombie World. I have to Solemn Judgment this Called by the Grave because I actually do need to get this card off. Because I am going to activate Multi-Faker to special summon here. Right? And now I need a... Obviously, I need fodder to negate the Unizombie. Right? So why do we need to get rid of Unizombie? Because Unizombie can discard the cards in his hand. You get what I'm saying? So now he's fucked. We just bounced back to Zombie World. So he's locked out of spells again. And he just concedes. It was quite a grind. Very close. I think relatively close game. Because... again, we just kind of got overwhelmed in our opening hand. was not very good. So it was just one of those things. All right, we're here for game number 5. And our opponent is activating Chamber Dragon Maid. So you should definitely be running 3 Imperms in the deck, because Imperm is an amazing way of getting Multi-Faker off turn 1. It's a hand trap and it is a trap. So you're able to fuck with your opponent's turn on turn 1, which is funny as hell. So he's going to Nurse Dragon Maid. Honestly, once he started doing this, I knew he was going to go into this link right here. Heretical Seal, and now we just bounce the seal, and he's pretty much not left with much. We're able to end up link summoning into Hexdia, which, remember, is pretty much our main boss monster, but also it's a very good search engine card. Because Hexdia, when it goes to the graveyard, you get to search for any Altergeist card. So that means trap or monster, which is very good. And then we play the Pukuya, because Hexdia allows us to have a extra negate, because we just sacrificed the Pukuya, which isn't a big deal. So we're going to negate the activation there. Now we get to summon Multi-Faker. And boom. Negate the changeover. Our opponent's kind of just boned right now. And here we're going to go for lethal. This game was actually in plat, surprisingly. But remember, Dragon Maids get... if you're able to fuck with their normal summons, they get absolutely butt fucked by these cards. By like interacting with their normal summons and messing with it. We're just going like stupid lethal on them. Make as much damage as possible. Boom. Just BMing at the end there. So yeah, Altergeist, pretty good in my opinion. Alright, we are here at the recap. Let's talk quickly about Altergeist. First things first. Meeseek, amazing card. A lot of these cards are very good. They all work very, very well with each other. I will say Solemn Judgment. I think that if you can get 3 of these, I think 3 of them would make sense. Having 3 and then 2 Solemn Warnings is still a fine split. I think having Protocol at 2 with Manifestation at 1 is fine. 3 Imperms definitely seems like a must, especially with how well it interacts with Multi-Faker. Pot of P was a good draw spell, and 1 for 1 was a very good search engine. It allows us to go into Milasuk, or it allows us to go into our Pukari. Mostly Milasuk is what we were going into with that. Let's talk about some things that we learned that I think are pretty important interactions to know when you are playing Altergeist. So first of all, spoofing, literally one of the best cards in the deck. Card's insane. So spoofing, you can do a lot of stuff with this. Notably, you can use this card. Let's say you activate Altergeist Manifestation. If you use spoofing as you activate Manifestation, since it is a normal trap, you can actually get the search off and it will still special summon the Altergeist. Another thing that you can do with spoofing that I did one match was I was going to summon Multi-Faker and our opponent activated Max C. And if you don't know, if you're summoning Multi-Faker and you're trying to do the stuff with Multi-Faker, that's like 2 draws for your opponent. So what you could do is you can activate spoofing to grab your Multi-Faker that from the activation, put it back in your deck, and then you can even search up Multi-Faker again. You're not going to be able to summon it like that again, but it prevents your opponent from getting draws from Max C. Another cool interaction with it. Spoofing is also very good for dodging effects. So let's say you activate spoofing, but you don't activate its effect, but you have Multi-Faker in hand anyway. You special summon Multi-Faker. Multi-Faker is going to search, let's say it was going to search our Siliquise again, right? And then they activated an Imperm or some way of stopping it. You'd be able to activate spoofing on the Altergeist Multi-Faker to dodge the Imperm. So it's a way of dodging too. Just a very versatile card, and I just wish that personal spoofing was considered an Altergeist card, because if it was considered an Altergeist card, you'd be able to search it with Marionetta, which you can't. So that's the one thing I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't. So Hexdia, very insane card, lets you search any Altergeist card in the deck and add it to your hand. That means you can add the traps, so Protocol or Manifestation too, and any of the monsters. The only reason we have like some of these other weird cards like Halki and stuff is just for the off chance of like we just need like, let's say 5k damage, and boom, we could summon Hulk. Hulk will search for the Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler Hulk goes into Selene. Selene can special summon any spellcaster, and then we can go into not Altergeist. We can go into Access Code Talker, and then boom, you got damage there. But you definitely can OTKO opponents with the Memory Gant. The card does an insane amount of damage. It also does a lot of burst, but it also requires your opponent to have cards for you to pop. So if you read the card, you contribute one other monster, gain attack equal to the tributed monster's attack on the field. So boom. And it doesn't mean you don't need an Altergeist monster. So if you have a Nibiru on the field or some other high attacking monster, you contribute that and it'll gain that attack. And then when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls, and if you do, this card can make a second attack in a row. So it's a little niche, but you can definitely like get massive advantage from this single card. So I do recommend you build at least one. But if you don't build one, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. A lot of my games I won, I didn't even have this in the deck. So take it as you will. The two evenly matches were very good in coming back from going second games, because like I said, this deck does struggle going second. So how did the deck perform? Well, on stream, I don't know the exact number, but we lost literally less than 3 times maybe. Like, we lost probably around like 3 to 4 times on stream. We won a massive amount of games. Don't get me wrong, we made a lot of misplays on stream, but we still would manage to win those games because Secret Village is pretty OP, and sometimes when you just shut out like a Despia deck from using spells or Sky Striker or something, you just instantly win the game. But yeah, the deck worked really well. I would say Multi-Faker at 2. I don't know if it made a massive difference, because a lot of the times we would search for it. But I had it in my opening hand pretty frequent. And when you have it in your opening hand, definitely makes the game a lot easier. I really wish they pushed the envelope with Multi-Faker and with Gazelle. And they put them both to 3. But my win rate after stream, where I was playing in Plat, I would say it was probably around like 80-ish%, like 80%. I did lose a little more games when I was playing off stream, mainly because I just kept losing my coin toss. I literally was going second every game, and I feel like that made some of the matches a lot harder, especially if you're playing against, let's say, Adventure Tenyi, and they're going first, and you have no way of interacting with them. You're probably going to fucking lose. There's like very little chance you come back from that. But yeah, the deck's super fun. On a power scaling of 1 to 10, I would say this deck is a solid, I would say it's an 8. I would say it's an 8 just because it performed very well. And I think it's one of those decks that the more you play it, the better you'll get with it. And I wasn't playing, like, if I'm being completely honest, I wasn't playing super optimally. There was definitely a lot of moments, especially in the stream, where I was just like blundering some of the moves. I would say the deck is very taxing to play too, like especially if you're playing it for a long period of time. Having to think that much, definitely, compared to like playing something brainless, you know what I mean? A lot of thought involved. So if you like decks like that, that's definitely in your wheelhouse. Now, out of a tier scaling, I would say this deck's still probably around like tier 2.5, maybe maybe tier 2. But I think for it to solidly go into tier 2, I think Multi-Faker needs to go to 3. I think at 2, it's still just like, sometimes you just don't get it. Like, I'm running like 20 monsters, or like, I'm running a lot of monsters, and sometimes I wouldn't have any monsters in hand. Like, I would say like a good handful of games I would have no monsters in hand. I think the extra one of Multi-Fakers would give us a bit higher of a chance of opening it, or at least like having a higher chance of naturally drawing it, rather than relying solely on our searches, which again, we have some pretty good searches with Miloseek and spoofing. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please give this deck a try. I think it's still got a lot better since the ban list, since there's a lot of decks that kind of got weakened too. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Bye.